And we're up. Test, test. Can you hear us? Leroy, can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear, sir.
All right, fantastic. We are live with another press play. Uh, at this point, I feel like we do them almost, our regular thing is to do them every other week as opposed to every week like we want. But at least that's some
Yeah,
sort of schedule. People can count on us being every other week. That's fine. What's going on with you, man?
nothing much. Nothing much.
Okay, that's what's up. We got a pretty busy docket, right? We got some stuff you want to talk about. Stuff I'm really just going to ask you questions about because I don't know it as well as you. I feel like you've been following it more. I know we're going to talk about the HBO latest. What's going on with Zaslav? Is he trying to sell this company? What's he doing? Is there some alter? I don't know, some scheme going on. I don't know what's going on with him.
As it stands right now, that dude is a supervillain. Friend of the show, David Zaslav. Um, I mean, that's how I look at him. He's got to be up to something. The Lex Luthor of fucking streaming services out here.
Oh man, you know
Friend of
what?
the
I don't.
show, David
Further the
Zaslav.
shit. I don't mind having a Lex Luthor on. I'd rather him be on our side than against us. So
Man,
that's that's
I
fine.
mean, think about it. This is the sad part. If he's on your side, he still isn't trustworthy because he might cancel your show.
Oh no! Don't cancel press play. Don't cancel our little show before we get started. So yeah, man. I mean,
I
kind of
mean,
walk us through the latest on that. What's going on?
on Zaslav or HBO Max.
Yeah, on Warner Brothers
So
Discovery.
H so right now Warner Brothers Discovery. Well, let's catch some people up because some people may not who are in the chat or who are watching this may not know exactly what's going on. Warner Brothers Discovery is the new merger between Warner Brothers and Discovery. Next year in 2023, they're going to merge their two streaming services into one. We don't know what it's going to be called. We don't know what it's going to look like. We don't have any details. We
Oh, oh no! This might be a rough night, folks. Leroy, you broke up for a second.
yeah, I saw that. Yeah,
Okay.
wonderful internet.
Yeah.
So Zaslav has been telling people, anybody who'll listen, they're going to cut 3 billion and or they're going to try to find 3 billion in savings. What that means is that they have dropped shows so that they don't have to pay
Now
royalties to
now
people.
3 billion with a B. B as in boy.
B B as in that's not too much money. They three of them, not just
Hmm.
one,
Yeah.
three, because they have $50 billion worth of debt that they took on.
Hmm.
Zaslav and his I don't want to call them cronies. I don't want to call them minions, but everyone who is underneath him has been looking for ways to cut costs and save. And they have been saying over the course of all this information that they are going to spend more money uh, on theatrical releases and HBO Max shows. They're going to go for high quality content. Um, I don't know what that means. Uh, as it stands right now, there's a couple of shows, movies, um, properties that HBO Max owns that they has been slowly but surely disappeared off the service. With that being said, they have canceled Batgirl uh, for tax purposes. Said that they're not going to release it. Supposedly there was a watch party um, for for the
Ty Williams, what's
cast
up?
for the cast and crew. I believe it's probably one of the only times that they're going to show the movie. Stuff has leaked out about the movie. We talked on this channel. You can go back and watch a couple of our videos about that has turned out. But recently, HBO Max is in the news because word is they're open for business, which means some of their properties that they own or have the rights to, they're
They want to sell them.
looking to other streaming services. Huh?
Oh, so not necessarily sell them, but just maybe let people stream them if they pay them for them. Okay.
Yep. So this is going back to the Netflix model. So where everybody was like, yeah, we have all this content sitting on the shelf. It's not in syndication or it's not. Let's Netflix. Let's let Netflix run it. Um, and everybody's like, wait, what? HBO Max is also looking to do a free service, an ad supported HBO Max service, kind of like with uh, Peacock does. So you can do Peacock and you have the free service, or you can upgrade to 4.99 and pay for it, and then have things unlocked. And then there's different tiers. I think you just said that you subscribe to
Peacock.
Peacock.
Mhm.
Which service, when you looked
The
at it,
the the whatever the cheapest paying one is. So we still get commercials, but we have access to everything. We just get commercials.
so what was the tiers
I
when
think
you
there's a
looked to
four
buy
ninety
this?
nine and
Mhm.
I think it's 4.99 and maybe 9.99. Chat, let us know, but I don't know exactly because we bought the deal that was like super discounted. Like you get a year for a relatively cheap price. But I think if it wasn't a deal, I think it might be 4.99 a month, and then the one
Mhm.
without commercials might be 9.99.
Okay.
Yeah,
Um, so that's what they're looking to do. They're looking to do because right now, as it stands, HBO Max is around $15, 15 or $16, 14.99, I believe,
okay.
and they're looking to do an ad supported free version, which probably do the same thing that Peacock does. Some of the you can view some of this, and there's some things behind the paywall that you would have to pay for. And question: the commercials, do they run before and after
They
the
run like during.
programming,
It's
or
like almost
during?
like you're watching, like if you had rabbit ears, or whatever. If you're
Mhm.
watching an antenna, you get 6 minutes of a show, then 2 minute commercial break in the back of the show. I haven't seen any before or after. They run during the show.
So is it so like the shows themselves? So like, what about shows that did not have commercials? So like, my question is, like a show that was never on traditional TV, like I'm trying to think of. There's a couple of them. The one with Chris Red, where they work in a casino.
Never seen it, so I don't know how the format of it is.
So that never ran on traditional television.
Okay.
Um, and I'm wondering how the commercial works. I watched the first episode. It had no commercial. If I remember correctly, it had no commercials. So basically, the idea is that Warner Brothers now is saying we're open for people to lease our shows and movies, and you pay us a certain amount, and here you can have this. The new thing that just came out, that which a lot of people probably noticed but didn't really think about, Warner Brothers owns the rights to the um, uh, Lord of the Rings shows or movies. I'm sorry, said that wrong. Warner Brothers owns the rights to the Lord of the Rings movies. They have allowed Amazon, because Amazon purchased the rights to Lord of the Rings for the shows. They now have all of the Lord of the Rings content on Amazon. There's no telling
So
how much.
essentially, Amazon is paying Warner Media for the
Yep,
access to the movies, not the show.
yep,
Yeah.
nope.
Okay.
The deal was for Warner Brothers is they're looking to see what franchises or content they have, and allowing other people to lease that from them. So we know Warner Brothers is the home of Batman and DC Comics. There was a Bruce Timm Batman show that was
That everybody was
supposed to
excited
be,
about.
yes. Now that show has been canceled.
I thought, thought I thought they
Then
were trying to shop it somewhere.
so there you go. So now the word is it's not canceled. they're going to shop it
Hmm.
around and see who picks it up. Uh, it's interesting to see what is going to happen because in the age of everybody having their own content that's unique that you have to pay for to in order to see it, Warner Brothers is doing the exact opposite, and that's a very interesting prospect. And what is the future for Warner Brothers? Like, is this a one-time thing where they're just hoping to get an influx of cash, or is this the business model going forward?
I think
And we have it.
Zaslav is trying to figure it out as he goes. I think he has had great success with Discovery. I don't think I don't watch enough Discovery myself, but I know Discovery is popular. That is Chip and Joanna, right? With Magnolia, that's all Discovery.
Mhm.
And
Yep.
that is Food Network Discovery as well,
Um,
or is that separate?
I believe there is some food stuff, but I'm not sure if it's Food Network. But I
Like,
can look it up.
because I'm just curious. Because if that is Food Network, then I love Food Network stuff. As much as I don't like Guy Fieri, for some reason he irks me. I enjoy his shows, and I watch all that kind of stuff. So I mean, clearly he has a fan base. His audience. He knows an audience for Discovery. I don't think he knows how to parlay that into working with Warner Brothers and having prestige television. We always talk about stuff being prestige. And as much as I know Guy
Hmm.
Fieri or Chip and Joanna, when you say Chip and Joanna, like I just think of them as a brand. I don't know of a certain show that I'm like, oh, this is the show that they have. I just know of them as a brand. And I don't know, again, I'm only speaking for myself, so I don't know worldwide. Katie's back there. When
Hmm.
Katie asks Katie, Chip and Joanna, does she think of a specific show or just a brand?
Uh, I believe just the brand,
Okay,
just their
got it.
show.
Okay.
Um, One of the things that I think that they do, um, Magnolia, that I've noticed they've started like leaning into original content as far as like, so one of the shows that I watched that was on, because my mother and sister, I think, bought Discovery Plus. I don't know which one, and then we got the password, and so
Mhm.
we were watching. So Magnolia had a show that I thought was very interesting. That they had people who would take motels, either that they were run down or they took over ownership, and you went through the process with them, and they showed you how they went from this was a dive hotel or a legacy hotel, and they refurbished it and they fixed it up, and it shot very well. It looks like they put some money into it. Chip and Joanna are nowhere in it. It's from the Magnolia Network,
So
and
they're part owners of the Magnolia Network.
no, they own the Magnolia. They are the Magnolia Network.
Right, but I mean like they own it along with Warner Brothers.
No, they own it.
Oh, okay. Okay,
Yeah,
gotcha.
that like so it's like so that's the thing. They have partnered with Discovery, and they have their own basically production company. That was a thing that they talked about, that they went from having a show,
Hmm.
being discovered, having a show, and then stepping back from that show and allowing their other businesses to be front and center, allowing Joanna to have a design firm, and then move from design firm to actually having products. So when you go to um, Target, there's a section called the Magnolia section. Those are all
Okay.
Chip and Joanna's projects from their business that is Magnolia. They have a magazine line. That's all of their stuff. So they own the Magnolia network, or the Magnolia brand is their brand. Um,
Okay.
I don't know what the deal is that they had with Discovery that's now on, that now puts them in the Warner Brothers family. But I don't know if you guys have noticed, when you see the upfronts or the trailers for is like the what's coming up new on HBO Max. Chip and Joanna are in that, and HBO Max, and starting in September, is going to, if you log on to the service, you're going to start seeing stuff from the Magnolia Network, Chip and Joanna, on that streaming service. Also, CNN is going to start having some stuff on the HBO Max platform. Um, I don't know what this means. Is this the ultimate goal of, slowly but surely creep a lot of that content in there to get people ready for this new streaming service that's going to come out next year? Or is this just another way to double dip? Get more eyes on, we got people over here watching, we got people over here watching. What does that mean? Zaslav comes from a reality TV is cheaper and easier and better. He's not from a film background, even though he has said that he wants to do more film. His idea is to make money. And
Sure.
so he has done a lot with that. Um, so that's where we stand right now with HBO Max. So here's the new article from the Hollywood Reporter. Came out September the 16th from Alex Weprin. The mogul's open for business mantra has led Warner Brothers Discovery to aggressively pursue rights deals, even for its core brands. So here, a Batman animated series in development from J.J. Abrams is also being shopped around. Bruce Tim Abrams and Matt Reeves took the show on the road for a series of big pitches to the major streamers this week. And last, the series Batman Cape Crusader was originally planned for HBO Max, but with the Warner Brothers Discovery merger, before the merger, at press time, Netflix, Amazon, and Hulu are the big contenders. So what that means is not just HBO, which flies in the face of what business has done recently in having their core brands say you can only get this from us.
Uh, I want to take a
Mm.
second and read some of the comments that we're getting from chat in here. The first one was Zayla Maru saying, "I hope Universal does buy Warner Media out." And then I put back in the chat, "Why do you say Universal?" We'll get to him in a second. And then Alasia, I don't know if this is a newer viewer or somebody I'm
Mhm.
not recognizing, but welcome to our chat. Says it's a shame. Oh, everything moves so fast. It's a shame that Warner Brothers probably won't be around in the next 5 years. Um, Interesting thought to think that they wouldn't be around just because like they're one of the original motion picture houses. That would be crazy to think that they wouldn't be around. But to go back to Zayla Maru saying Universal, and when we say Universal, it's NBC Universal, right? But NBC Universal
Mhm.
is in the best position to do it. They're the only folks who could legit compete with Disney. Getting DC would really help in that regard. Um, I don't know if I like the idea of everybody buying everybody. We've talked about this before. Like, if everybody's one big mega corporation, you kind of defeat the need for people to compete with each other because there are fewer people, so they don't feel the need to be as competitive and
Mhm.
creative with stuff. Um, Warner Brother and DC, or Warner Brother and Disney, I wish they had kind of separated just because they're two different mega companies. I guess it's okay because they don't necessarily have the same programming, so it's fine. But I like the idea of Warner Brother Discovery being its own entity and not being bought by somebody. Just because, hopefully, Zaslav has only been the head for what, a year? Not even a year yet, right? I don't think.
He's only been the head. Well, he's been the head since the merger. So he was the CEO of Discovery,
Sure,
but
sure.
now with the merger that's been spun off, if you remember correctly, the last guy, um, excuse me,
Bless you.
the last guy who was in charge of Warner Brothers, Warner Media, was the gentleman who was like, "Hey, it's a pandemic, so day and date, everything that goes in the movies goes on to HBO Max," and that rubbed a lot of creatives the wrong way. We've talked in depth about the relationship that Christopher Nolan had with Warner Brothers, and we lambasted Christopher Nolan, rightfully so, for his
Friend of the show, we lambasted you.
friend of the show, Mr. Nolan. We lambasted him because he was of the impression that he was going to save the theaters with Tenet. He was like, we should not give up on movie theaters, um, big budget movies, that kind of stuff. And we did not disagree. We should give up on theaters, but it's a pandemic,
Hmm.
and it's not safe to go into theaters. We didn't know how long, or how the virus would, for a while we didn't have a vaccine. So it's fair to say that that wasn't something that was feasible at the time. So, and then we talked about how Warner Brothers basically pissed off legendary films when they decided they were going to do day and date Dune. Um, we legendary also did Godzilla and Kong. Um, Team Godzilla here. That monkey got his ass whooped. Uh,
Still on that, huh?
I will never, never let the King Kong people live
Kong ain't
peacefully.
do nothing to you.
No, the people,
Okay.
the fans, the King
Okay.
Kong fans. I want them to know where they stand in the whole kaiju monster hierarchy.
Uh huh.
It's Godzilla and everybody else because last time I checked, King Kong doesn't have a movie called King of the Monsters. I believe that's only Godzilla. I mean, you guys can check that. I mean, this is verifiable fact. Uh, so I just want them to know
Baby
where they
Toshiro
stand.
agrees with you. Godzilla is king.
I mean, it is in the name Godzilla. Um, but so Christopher Nolan pretty much saw the writing on the wall. He was like, "I'm out. This
Hmm.
is not where I want to be." And keep in mind, this is the man who brought several blockbuster movies to Warner Brothers, and he is now signed with, interesting enough, NBC Universal. His first film, Oppenheimer, is going to premiere in the movie theaters, and they have a deal for it to go streaming onto Peacock. Um, Now there are reports that there are reports right now that Warner Brothers is not a place that agents and handlers are letting their creatives go to. They're doing everything that they can to keep people from signing with Warner Brothers. And that's a big deal because if you can't get people to trust you with their properties, how are you going to spend the money to build your brand, to
Sure.
start putting more movies out, putting more prestige television out? People may not want to sign with you. If you noticed this last week, Vince Gillian, uh, creator of arguably two of the best shows on television, people believe, Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul. Um, Notice where he did not sign. His show was going to Apple Plus.
Hmm.
They were in a bidding war. I don't know if Warner Brothers was even in contention based on everything that we've seen. Um, so that's where we stand right now with Warner Brothers and HBO Max. And it's for me, I would like your opinion on: do you think this is feasible, or is this a, hey, we go make this money real quick and then we're going to go back to doing what we were doing?
What are we asking? Is what feasible? Is the future of Warner Brothers feasible, or is this plan of selling
No,
stuff off
the
feasible?
leasing. Yeah, the leasing of properties. Like I said, I just put that article in the chat, so you guys read that and let us know what you think.
I
And
think it's
you know,
entirely feasible because the idea is like that's not something new.
mhm,
Have been leasing properties and letting people stream them forever. The new thing was, and I say new, but it's been around forever. But the idea is, hey, let's make our own streaming service.
mhm,
Is newer than the idea of giving your content out and letting people stream it. Because as
mhm,
long as you're always getting royalties or whatever for people watching it. So I think that's fine. Like the same way, like you'll see a bunch of Disney movies on, was it TNT or TV or not Marvel movies on TNT?
yeah,
Like they're not the same company, but TNT is paying Disney some type of licensing fee to have those movies there. So I mean, they're making a
true.
little bit of money, maybe not much. So I think it's feasible. I think
They're
it
making
doesn't
money, but
seem.
what I think is interesting,
Go ahead.
I, I I would be interested to see how much, or what that contract was, which like what that contract was for them to put those movies on that service versus, like, instead of like Disney Kids.
Hmm.
Like, when was that contract? What is that when was that contract made? How long is it for? Because I would be very interested to wonder why And I know it's money, but why would you not keep that stuff in house? Like only have your Disney or Marvel stuff stream on your Disney platforms. So that's why I said it.
I I think in his mind, and again, I don't know. I'm not a multi-billionaire person like he is, but if I had to guess, I feel like he thinks he can make more money quick run than long run, or quick term than long term. I think if he, in his mind,
Hmm.
he thinks if he can sign these contracts, he can generate enough capital to help just shave this debt. Because, like you said, if you're trying to get rid of $3 billion, that's a big number,
Hmm.
especially if they're dealing with 50 billion. It doesn't seem like much,
Hmm.
but it might help stockholders believe, oh, he said what he did, what he said he was going to do. He said he was going to get rid of 3 billion, and he did.
Now, here's my question. You brought up the
Hmm.
stock price. What is the
Hmm.
stock price right now?
Sir, if I go to my Robinhood, hey Robinhood, if y'all want to sponsor us, come in our DMs and let us know.
Slide in them
I've been
DMs,
using
baby.
Robinhood forever. Yeah, but anyway, on Robinhood, Warner Brothers Discovery is at $11.81. Let's see. The 52-week high was $31.55. The low was 11.51. So I mean,
So
Warner Brothers stock has been not great for a while. It's dropped over the past 5 years. It's dropped $10.
yeah. So I'm looking at the Nasdaq right now when it comes to Warner Brothers Discovery. It says exactly what you just said. The day's range is from 11.51 to 11.91. The current price on what I have is 11.79, and the 52-week range was 11.51 from 31.55. They said this price, correct me if I'm wrong, is the lowest it's been since 2009, and that's
Could
because
be. I don't
of,
know. I don't know enough data, but sure.
well, I'm reading, so I'm looking at two different articles, one from the Motley Fool and another one from CBR from Nicholas Canito. Came out on August the 23rd. Uh, Following numerous cancellations with the developed projects that Batgirl and Scoob 2, as well as the removal of 36 beloved animated series like Infinity Train, Warner Brothers Discovery stock prices have been sinking since August the 4th. The company closed that day at 1748 and sits at 1279 of this writing, marking its lowest stock price since 2009. Warner Brothers Discovery stock value has dropped nearly 50% since the beginning of this year. Now, this is coming off the heels that their CEO, CFO, and every other person, good, we're doing great. Nobody's upset with us. And it's like, buddy, your stock price is dog shit.
Now,
Um,
one thing to keep in
so,
mind with regards to that, stocks all around
mhm,
are down.
true,
Um, so they do suck, but everybody's sucking. So yeah, just keep that in mind. That's all I'm saying.
true. I agree. But however, comma, the fact of, whereas other people are starting to rebound after being down,
Hmm.
they seem to just keep going down while
Yeah,
they're literally saying everything's fine. And I don't think it's a issue that they're not going to be around. My question is, and I think it was Herbert Thornton brought it up, this idea that they could be bought by Comcast, which owns NBC Universal. Um, there was talk of um, Comcast looking to buy Warner Media. Now, I don't know because I'm not a agent of the SEC, not the football conference, the Securities and Exchange Commission.
hmm,
The Comcast CEO has on record saying he wouldn't mind acquiring Warner Media. Now, my question is, has he backdoored or talked to Zaslav, or is there talk between the two these companies where Zaslav is slashing, like, here's where it's a going out of business sale for them to say, we're cheap now, let's go ahead and get this done. Now the merger can't happen until after, I think 2025, 2023 is next year. I'm trying to look for this
While you look for this article,
article
I'm
to be
look.
bought until. Go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just gonna say I was gonna read some comments. Carlos, anyone here watch Cyberpunk Edge Runners? I haven't watched it yet, but we're hearing good things about that, and a lot of people are just kind of just going back. I want to know
Yeah.
who these sources are that our chat knows because they were just like, "Oh, I've heard this and this and this." I mean, to be fair, I guess you can read wherever you want, but just people are talking about, Warner Brothers' reputation being killed. Um, I think
Well,
since Warner Brothers
there.
is like because it's been around for so long, I do think they're in the gutter. I don't think that it's been completely tarnished just because Warner Brothers still is a big name, like it is. And chat, let me know because I feel like Warner Brothers is like one of the original five power movie studios. I think right, like Warner
It's. I think
Brothers,
it's a.
Paramount, and
Yeah.
probably Disney,
Um,
maybe MGM before they got bought, but I don't know.
mhm.
Um,
Now, there is some truth to that because right now there are reports coming out. The reason why people are saying that Warner Brothers' reputation is trash is because in the news recently, we've had quite a few reports of, like I said, agents steering people away from signing with Warner Brothers.
whoa,
Christopher Nolan basically telling Warner Brothers, I do not trust you and I'm not going to do business with you anymore. And another article that came out, another report. You watch Ted Lasso, right?
I do. I love me some Ted Lasso.
Ted Lasso is on it app is on Apple Plus.
Hmm.
Guess who makes Ted Lasso?
I don't know, Sony.
Warner Brothers.
Oh, okay, cool.
Uh, Warner Brothers has been telling people that who work on the show, you can't press and you need to be loyal to our show and you can't promote, which is causing problems for some of the actors and actresses who want to do other projects outside of Ted Lasso. There has been reports of Ted Lasso, um, the show is it, it's in its last season,
I think
and
there's two more seasons.
you sure?
I think there's a season three and a season four confirmed, and we're waiting on season three to come out, I believe.
I
But let me
know
know.
there's a season. Hold on. So right now, season three is supposed to be coming out. Uh, I know Jason Sudeikis has been talking about the fact that um, there has been some issues with shooting seasons, and one of the biggest actors on Ted Lasso has running afoul of Warner Brothers. Brett Goldstein, you may know him as Roy Kent, but he is also going to be Hercules, and he is being told not to promote his appearance in the Marvel stuff. Um, so that the idea that Warner Brothers' reputation is in the trash or in the gutter, there's a little bit of truth to that. Now, no one has come on the record and saying who works with Warner Brothers as far as actors or agents, but there have been reports, articles written up about this tenuous relationship with them. Um, I don't know what Zaslav's ultimate evil goal is,
Hmm.
but it seems to be he is filling the role of supervillain very well.
Sure.
Now, is he could they rebound? Yeah, we've seen companies not do well religiously, and then they come back like a vengeance. Apple being one of them. Um, it's
I think because we live in
go
a
ahead.
in a in a in a for lack of a better word, but like an ADD world where we're always going on the move. I think Warner Brothers there will be a bigger a bigger story eventually that kind of drowns them
Mhm.
out, and then people will kind of forget about Warner Brothers. Like in the grand scheme of things, I think like maybe this not this time next year, but like beginning of next year, there will probably be another big. crazy
Hmm.
story, and I think Warner Brothers will kind of just eat that up and do whatever they want. Um, I think the big thing for them is going to be how they market the Flash movie with Ezra Miller. I know Ezra Miller has now gone
Hmm.
on record and said that they are trying to get counseling and get help, which is good.
Hmm.
Um, but some of
Hmm.
the people have been talking about it in the chat that people have like some there's reports that people have had to sign NDAs and they can't talk about Ezra Miller
Yep.
and the issues that they're going
Hmm.
through. So
Yep.
I feel like that'll be like their next big test. Um, and we still don't
Especially
know
considering
what the date is. It June maybe for Flash? Is there a date, or did they kind of just
I
put it
I don't know.
TBA?
I don't know, but here's but you brought up a very good point. Part of the problem that HBO Max or Warner Media has been having is because of their. I'm always a person who says it's easy, it's better to just say the truth when it comes to these matters because you're going to be when the truth comes out, you're going to look bad. Now, I don't know how business wise this is going to affect them, but if you remember, David Zaslav was on record saying that we're not going to release movies that aren't ready. And the report was that Batgirl was dog shit. And then it came out wait a minute, Batgirl had the same test scores as Black Adam. So, wait, what? And then it was, oh, we're still committed to Flash, yet Ezra Miller still has all of these issues and incidents. And then, oh yeah, the Batgirl movie had a few diversity hires or cast members that it made it seem like you guys are going out of your way to lambast Batgirl, even though there was nothing wrong with it. So that was part of the reason why a lot of people don't trust David Zaslav or Warner Media in the sense of you did this to yourself. Like I could be okay with the fact of you saying, look, we looked at our movies and this is what we decided to go with. We wanted you to see it, however, comma, it was just better for us financially to do this. And then it was like, that's not the route they went. They pulled the same crap Disney pulled with Scarlett Johansson, and then they had egg on their face when the truth came out. Um, in my opinion, I some people may see it differently, but the way the they did this to themselves to a certain extent is why I don't have a lot of sympathy. And also, as they're spinning all of this BS that they keep this corporate whatever, they're laying people off. You know, Zaslav's not hurting for anything. He was one of the most highly paid CEOs in the last 2 years, even though his stock price has dropped by 50%.
Hmm.
I don't know too many people who get raises when they lose money.
Usually, it's higher ups that continue to make the money while the other people don't get
Hmm.
the money. I mean, that's one way they do cost effective stuff. But yeah,
Yep. Kim from Chicago brings up a very good point. Warner Brothers, Disney was committed to the Flash while Amber Heard was left twisting in the wind. Um, I, I don't know what they're going to do when Flash comes out, if it comes out, or if when Aquaman comes out. Because if you are canceling shows and movies, how do you trot out other people whose shows and movies are going to make it with these different situations? Like how do you promote the Flash? Your star can't go on a talk show right now. How do you promote Aquaman? I mean, regardless of how you feel about Amber Heard, and we know that there has been political motivations behind the the case from from people who sided with Amber Heard or didn't side with Amber Heard. Same thing with Johnny Depp. How do you promote that show and one of your biggest stars is not sitting there on that couch? So I'd really like to see where this goes, considering David Zaslav has said we want a 10-year plan with our properties when it comes to
with the DC
um,
properties.
with the DC properties, and you're shopping your probably your most recognizable I don't want to say star, one of your most recognizable characters in Batman to another streaming service. So
People, people in the chat are bringing up. Somebody's talking about John Camp. Are you familiar with John Campia,
yes.
YouTube guy?
Hmm.
I go back and forth on John Campia.
I don't.
Sometimes, it's like when I first saw him, I was like, okay, he has interesting ideas. But then since I hear him talk, he kind of like flips flop back and forth. I don't know. I don't know anything about the guy personally. It's just he gives off a weird vibe. That's all I can say about John Campia.
I John Campia, I feel like is another person. I would rather the world not have John Campia and people like him.
Hmm.
And I'll say that I did not. My problem with John Campia and people like him is that they are they're the people who feed into this narrative and do not have honest conversations. Um, if I was Disney, I would spend every dollar I had to destroy him
Okay.
because when he broke that embargo for Andor, I don't care if it was glowing. If I'm Disney, you broke an embargo that we did not want. And you know how I feel about corporations and stuff like that. You, because what John Campia did was put somebody else in the wind.
Hmm.
Because now they've got to find out how did you get this screener copy
Hmm.
when we did not want that out there. And it's a contract. And if I was Disney, I would spend every dime I could to eradicate him
Cool.
because because here's the problem. And this is the conversation that we're having is an honest conversation. I think people like that do not have those honest conversations. And his opinions are dog crap.
All right. All right. That's enough about John Campia. Baby Toshiro asks, so Leroy and Michael, do you think that Zaslav 10-year plan was just spin? I don't think it's just spin. I just don't think he knows how to get it done. I think he truly does want a 10-year plan for DC. I think he believes that. I don't think he knows how to do it. So I wouldn't call that spin. I just think maybe he probably should have had his ducks in a row before he said it.
I My problem with Zaslav is that you're spending all of your time trying to make just be honest. Just come out and say, you know what? Since the merger, we're in flux. We have to figure out how to combine two massive streaming services while having $50 billion in debt, and we're going to make some mistakes. If he had said that and said, look, some of the decisions we're going to make as we learn to be and be honest and say, we're navigating something no one has ever done before. Just come out and be honest. No one has done what he is about to do and say, I promise you as a CEO, I'm going to do the best that I can. However, comma, I'm going to make some mistakes. I may say something and then I may find out later that this is not the case. And I'm going to do everything I can to be transparent with you. I'm going to do everything I can to be honest with you. If he had done that, guess how many people would be rallying to his side to say, hey, they're trying to figure it out. They own some of the most recognizable properties. They're doing the best that they can to deliver money for their shareholders and to give us great shows and movies. I would have no problem. But
Leroy,
guess,
you want him to be nice. Like, that's not a thing CEOs do.
and what I'm saying is, I don't. You don't have to be nice. I know this is a business. Just be honest. Because here's the thing: when you're not honest, because it's gonna get found out that you can't like perfect example. We just brought up the John Campia thing, right? With the whole spoilers and stuff like that. There are movies that are spoiled. Like, so if you think that you can hide or lie about something and that information won't get out there, Marvel has had to recut trailers and put film and shots that are not even in the movie to throw off people so that their movies don't get spoiled. Sir, did you think that you as a CEO was going to come out here and say something that wasn't true and we wouldn't know? Like that's the thing that gets me. Like this whole idea that in 2022 you can say something and it not be true and you think you can get away with it. That's the problem that I have. Because again, he's sitting like go look up how much David Zaslav make, friend of the show, I would like to say. Um, he is one of the most highly paid CEOs. He's going to be fine. All of these sticks and stones that we're throwing at him with words probably won't touch him as he's on his yacht off the coast of Cabo St. Lucas or wherever these people vacation, whatever. He's gonna be fine. What I'm talking about is the people who lost their jobs, the people who have left, the people who have lost their properties. Um, what about them? If you had been honest with it, we could understand that you're doing the best that you can, and that these people will have to do whatever they need to do. There would be no issue. That I honestly think people would be rallying, and guess what? There would be a litany of articles written. Is this the new kind of CEO? A CEO who's like think about the glowing praise he would have gotten if he would have came out and said that. Because watch this, ain't nobody talking shit about Kevin Feige and Alan Horn.
Well, yeah, they are, but I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Because
Um,
here's the thing: if you're the CEO of a company like that, nobody should fucking know your name. Not like this. That's all I'm saying. So
oh, Raised by Wolves got cut. That was one of the first shows to get cut.
I didn't even watch season two. I'm sorry for you, baby. To sure, I know a lot of people like that. Alasia said,
Stacey Leroy, man. Yeah.
"You like that nigga now." I also saw that deal that Dan to helm DC fell through. Nobody wants that job. It is not like. Don't get me wrong. I would love that job, but that's just because I'm narcissist enough to think that I'd be good at it. But I don't have a production company that I have to run and worry about. Um, I just look at the fact that I would have access to everything Warner Media has with DC, and I would just revel in that. But I'm an idiot, so
Okay. So, do you think there is a way for Warner Brothers and Warner Discovery, and all that stuff to come out of this? Are they just going to continue to
yeah.
fall until
That,
Zaslav gets like? Do you think Zaslav can do it, or do they have to get somebody else?
I think I'm even though I have been lambasting David Zaslav, and even though I have said some very critical things, I'm willing to withhold judgment on his performance until after the merger's complete. Let me see where he gets all of his things together. Let me see what happens once he gets the Warner Media family in one umbrella. He no longer has to worry about his debt ratio when it comes to what do we have to get rid of, what do we have to cancel. Let me see where that is, because he may be doing a good job behind the scenes. It's just that he's stepped in every pothole possible.
Hmm.
um, let's see what happens in 2023 once the app has been integrated. Once you click on one app for your Chip and Joanna, your 90 Day Fiance, and your Harley Quinn. Let me see. Let me see in 2 years that, and then, in my opinion, then we can act, adequate, adequately judge his performance. Because say what you will about the man, he has made money hand over fist when he was running Discovery.
Sure.
Like, you cannot discredit this man's money making ability from turning nothing into something. Because here's a person who was able to literally revolutionize uh, reality TV. Because I don't know if you paid attention, reality TV is the backbone of some of CBS's programming, and he saw that and ran with it.
Yeah. I mean, whenever you can look at pretty much summer programming on any like basic cable.
Hmm.
Reality TV is king just because it's so easy to produce compared to like scripted content. So yeah.
Yep. So that's why I said I'm as we've been very critical about this gentleman. Uh, I believe he deserves the criticism. However, comma, I'm willing to wait to see what this price of the new app is going to be, how they integrate it, what is going to be the UI. Because I'm gonna be honest with you, I have not been a fan of HBO Max's UI. I think Disney's isn't any better. I still think Netflix probably has one of the best user interfaces. Um, but let's see. Let's see down the line what happens. But right now, whoo, mm, he's got. And if I was a shareholder, which if that price at 11.79 holds, I will be. Um, full disclosure, I plan to buy some Warner Brothers stock
I mean,
because
you should buy it now rather than
that's a.
later. But
Mhm. Well, I mean, I can't just buy something. Like I can't buy 30 shares of Warner Brothers stock without checking with the wife. I mean, I would. It's different from buying $11 of action figure versus $11 stock times 30 because that's how much I'm about to buy.
sure, yeah. Um, Ken from Chicago, Zaslav is crying in his yacht full of money.
That's what I'm saying. Like he's probably watching the stream like, man, Leroy came hard, but I respect it.
Yeah,
I gotta do better. I gotta impress Leroy Green on the We
that's
Try.
what he's thinking right now. Herbert Thornton, guys, can I ask who you think will win the streaming wars?
Disney.
I mean that does seem like the obvious answer, but probably just because they own so much stuff. I don't even know who else Disney could buy.
They don't have to buy anything.
Right, right. But I'm saying is they continue. They bought so many different like groups and stuff. I don't know.
They don't
Is
need
there
to.
anybody else they could buy?
Here's the thing: they don't need to. If I'm Disney, I don't buy anything else. You know what I do? I
What's
develop
that?
what I have.
Hmm.
Because here's the thing: think about, and this is why I disagree with Baby Tashiro and people who said what he said. I respect your opinion. I'm with you, Michael. I don't think Warner Brothers should be bought by NBC Universal or Disney. I want these things to stay separate because competition is good. As much as I love Disney and Marvel and everything they've done, I got to hand it to Warner Brothers. No one could have done Peacemaker, Watchmen. Your show, Harley Quinn, is actually pretty good. Disney can't do that. You name one character Disney could have pulled off and done the Peacemaker show with and put it on Disney Plus. They can't do it.
Yeah,
So I would love to see Disney. They own Predator, right? Prey was pretty good. They own the Alien franchise. We're going to get an Alien TV show that's going to be on FX. I would rather them develop what they have, give me some good programming, and let everybody else basically put out their best. There's a reason why the NFL is the most watched sports in America. It's because it's balanced, there's parity, and there's competition. You could be dog crap one year, and you could be in the Super Bowl the next year. Cincinnati Bengals.
sure. Somebody was asking us why we picked Disney over like somebody like Netflix. The reason why I picked Disney over Netflix, and we kind of talked about this because is Disney has its hands in so many things that if
Mm-hmm.
like streaming were to go down, they would probably be okay
Oh
because
yeah.
they have the theme parks and they have all this other stuff. Netflix just has Netflix streaming stuff, and they continue to be in debt, kind of like Warner Brothers Discovery.
Mm-hmm.
Netflix continues to be in debt. Now their stock is higher than Disney, but the stock difference of their highest point to where they are now, I think they've had a bigger drop percentage wise than Disney. So for me, that's why I picked Disney over Netflix, just because Disney kind of has its hands in everything.
Well, I picked Disney over Netflix because there's a synergy in their business that no one else has. The only closest person who has it is maybe Apple Plus, but Apple Plus is a little different because they're a computer manufacturer. They make products, and so that they can literally put their Apple things onto their devices to sell you. So Apple Plus may be the only person that I think can challenge Disney because of brand recognition, but Disney literally has like a Ouroboros funnel to itself. They have the products that then you buy because you watch the stuff and you watch the stuff and you have kids or you're an adult and you say, I want to see this stuff live. And so they have the theme parks, they have the cruises, they have the shows, which it just keeps it's literally a hamster on a wheel. And no one else has that. The only other person who can come close may be um, Apple. Now, who I think may get into the game eventually one day and could challenge all of them, Microsoft or Google. Those are the only two companies I think that could get into this business. And Google kind of got into it with YouTube TV, but they jumped out.
Hmm.
And now their best show was on Netflix. Um, Amazon may, but they are Amazon is the one. Amazon's the dark horse, but that's where I look at the streaming wars.
I think Amazon just has so much money they can just make whatever they want,
And the problem with that is,
provided they want to put money behind something.
there you go.
Like while Lord of the Rings looks great and looks incredible, I enjoyed Paper Girls, but it looked bad just because it had nowhere near the budget of a Lord of
Hmm.
the Rings. I
And
wish it
here's
had gotten a little more money.
and here's another thing: as popular as much money as they spend on Lord of the Rings, which one is better, Lord of the Rings or House of Dragons?
Oh, you asking me?
Hmm. I'm
Yeah,
asking you in the chat. Which
it's. Oh, you asking it for me? It's
I'm
up for debate. I don't know because both shows I'm kind of like,
really see for
yeah.
me.
For both shows I'm not like, ooh, I gotta watch next episode. I'm not there yet with either show.
For me, for me, House of Dragon. It's I have to watch the next episode. For me, it is straight House of Dragons, hands down. Not even like Baby Tashiro said, them dragons. Kim from Chicago brings up a very good point, and that's why I said Google or Microsoft. They are the dark horse, or they are the ones. If they actually got into the ring and really put forth the effort that they could, I would be scared if I was at Disney. But there's no they're good with what they do right now. So ain't
Mhm.
nobody paying attention. And that's I agree with you with Amazon. If Amazon got their head out of their ass and like focused, but they're all over the place. And it's because they don't have to be. Now they're
Sure.
trying to right the ship, but Amazon is like, I'm making billions of dollars of selling you idiots toilet paper. The
Hmm.
amount of money that they spend on Lord of the Rings, they make that back in Tide.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't see Amazon. Amazon ain't hurting for money.
I
I
feel
got
like
two.
the one thing that the people that are hurting for money are the ones we've been talking about this entire time. Warner Brothers Discovery
Hmm. and,
and
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 and Paramount.
oh
Because
yeah,
here's the thing: Paramount has. There's a report from Paramount or CBS that they may get rid of their Showtime app and merge that into Paramount, which would to me make it more feasible. Now, here's the thing: this is what you have to ask yourself, and this is let you know the test of whose streaming service in the streaming wars is the best. If you could only buy three streaming services, who would you pick?
like
And
having
that's
three streaming services.
three streaming services. You can only get three. That's the testament of whether or not you are on the right page.
I mean, for me, it'd probably be Disney, Netflix, and Hulu.
Boom. Notice
For
you
me,
didn't mention. Notice what you didn't mention.
I mean Warner Brothers.
Yep. You did also. You know what you didn't mention?
What,
Paramount.
Paramount? Yeah,
Yep. You didn't mention Apple Plus. You didn't mention. You didn't mention Amazon.
yeah.
And that's what I say when it's all said and done. If you had to put dollars to cents to it, who would you pay for, and who are you paying for? And if you're not paying for it, now as much as
Who
I
are your three?
Disney, Netflix, and HBO Max.
It's interesting. We both said Disney and Netflix.
Hmm.
Those seem to be the ones that are just they've somehow figured out the math, or they have. I think Netflix kind of had it from the beginning because they were kind of like the original streaming people to make it work and
Hmm.
have so much stuff, and then Disney just owns so much stuff. You're like, yeah, there's always something to watch on Netflix or Disney. The trouble is maybe finding it. just like
And
getting
see,
it curated.
David Cooper's. Let me highlight that comment. How do I do that? Give me a second. Here's the comment that crystallizes everything. Everybody's going to have Amazon Prime because they have Prime service on Amazon. They don't even consider dropping it because it's bundled with their shipping service, and that's why I didn't. No one mentions Amazon is just that thing you have. It's
Hmm.
you know what? I'm in a mood for hot takes. Amazon is the herpes of streaming services. Everybody got it. Nobody wants to admit it, and you know everybody has it.
Okay, you proud of yourself for that?
Actually, I am.
Okay,
I really am.
fantastic.
I actually am. Now that I think about it,
Yeah,
I deserve a
you're like,
cheeseburger.
good job, Leroy. I killed
I
it this
am.
Saturday night.
Like I'm like Kobe right now. Like
Yeah.
I just dropped 80 points on y'all.
Okay.
Because they,
Great.
I mean, think about it. We nobody mentioned Amazon as far as a streaming service because we don't think of Amazon as a streaming service. We think
Hmm.
of Amazon as this giant conglomerate that sells us toilet paper and gives us the boys, as well as allows us to buy cheap toys and everything else that we want. We're not going to Amazon strictly for. And this is another thing. Amazon, you buy stuff from the other streaming services on Amazon.
Hmm.
Like if you want a baby Groot, where do you go? You type in, let me see what Amazon has, and it sends. That's why when it comes to a streaming service, no one really considers Amazon because that's not what they primarily do.
For sure.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about this. I should have been doing this throughout our chat. But for
Mhm.
anybody who is new to us, if you are watching us through News 19 Nerds, let us tell you that we are trying to start our new channel, the We Trying channel. So if you could like, comment, subscribe over there, and put all your comments and views over there, that would be fantastic. But there we go.
Mhm.
Baby Teshiro says, I don't own Amazon. I'd rather shop in person, and I really don't like Amazon shows except Reacher and The Expanse.
I have not watched Reacher. You guys have been talking about it. You and a lot of people in the chat. Is Reacher pretty good?
I enjoyed Reacher. I thought it was fine.
Okay.
I mean, it's not like, oh my gosh, it's incredible. I thought it was fine.
Which one is better, the movie Reacher or the TV show Reacher?
Probably the TV show.
Okay.
Because I've never read the books, but I do realize now seeing the show, like just how much closer that character, the TV character, is to the book compared to Tom Cruise.
Okay.
Like Tom Cruise is awesome, but he's not this huge hulking dude, and Reacher is a huge
Yeah.
hulking dude.
Yeah.
So it kind of like it plays into some plot points
Hmm.
more because this dude is big and hulking. But like Tom Cruise is cool, but he ain't like a huge Hulk, you know.
Yeah, man. That's White Jackie Chan does. He's good at what he does.
Nah.
um, you want to talk about this other thing?
Hey man,
You
I
got
got as
time?
much time in the world.
Okay. Elijah, thank you for that. Hey guys, we appreciate you. Regardless of what is going on in your life, we appreciate you because you were here when you could have been doing anything else. Right now, you could be watching USC finally getting their act together against the 49ers of Charlotte. And
Oh, are they winning?
finally, yeah, it's 49 to 17, I think. I just
Oh,
looked at the score. No, 49 to 14. I apologize. So
and
yeah,
what the third quarter, fourth quarter?
fourth quarter, 8 minutes
Okay,
left in the fourth quarter.
okay.
So yeah, they finally
Oh,
got.
downtown gonna be crazy tonight.
Ooh, aren't you glad you ain't working?
Yeah, it's gonna be wild tonight.
So yeah, you could be watching any of these football games. You could be watching Arizona State versus Utah, USC versus Oregon State, Wisconsin versus Ohio State, Vanderbilt getting their dog mess beat out of them by Alabama. But you chose to be here with us, and we appreciate it.
Well, to be fair, they could be doing both.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, because we are streaming, so they could be watching us in a corner and watching TV.
good point. Good
Yeah,
point. That's why I keep you around, not just a pretty face, sir.
yeah.
Um, so here's the other one. We're going to give you a sneak peek into the world of how we think. Me and Michael have been debating this off and on probably for a while. But here's my question to the chat. And would you even want this? Is it possible for a 24-hour nerd network to exist? I say yes. Michael says the possibility of it existing, he agrees. However, comma, he doesn't think in the way the world works, it would be profitable. No one has figured it out yet.
Um,
And I want to hear from you. I want to hear from the chat. What do you think? And the reason why we bring this up, so let's give it some backstory. G4 TV came back. Um, they're only on Twitch and YouTube, and just recently, within the last month, they've had to lay off some people, and they've bought out. I think it was Frost. They bought out her contract, and so she's no longer with the network. Um, yeah, that's going up. Yeah, that's going up. Oh, I almost choked. I almost died.
Brian B, I need more details about that. I mean, I stand by what I said. Zootopia is hitting on stuff.
Ugh.
Moana's fine. Moana ain't hitting on stuff. Sorry. If people don't realize Zootopia was hitting on stuff, I don't know what to tell you. Watch that movie again.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So yeah, you go ahead. So we've been talking about this off and on because if I became a multimillionaire, I won the lottery, or I find out that I have some long lost rich Nigerian uncle someplace, and he's like, Leroy, whatever you want, and I'm gonna be like,
Is
thank
your
you.
Nigerian uncle Russian? Was that a Russian
Yeah,
accent? What
there's
was
a little
that?
bit of both. So
Okay.
my lineage is very complicated.
Okay, yeah. I was like, there's a lot going on. You got like a Black
So
Widow thing happening.
I would love for I would try to make a 24-hour nerd network. I would.
Uh,
Um,
so for me, I think the idea is cool because
mhm,
honestly, in a grand world, I would love to be an executive producer on a nerd news show that I would
mhm,
do every day. I think that would be awesome.
yeah.
Um, but I think I think it's tough because nobody has figured out the ratio to bring in enough revenue. I think with any type of 24-hour streaming service, whether it's pure streaming or on a cable network or something, you got to find a way to bring in money all the time.
Hmm.
Um, and what they do now on Twitch, and the way most people watch on Twitch, I enjoy Twitch a lot. Um, I don't actually pay for anybody on Twitch. Um, and there are people that do, obviously, because people make money. But I think there are too many people who would want the free version of Twitch and not subscribe to the channel to make enough money. So I feel like it's hard for them to find the commercials for that. I feel like our collective people overall um, don't spend money. Like we have the capability to spend money. I just don't feel like we spend money like that. Like say a CBS network who has, that people always joke CBS network is like for the older folks, and it
It
is,
is.
but they're making bukus of money because those people are generally going to be more well off. They're making more money. They're buying those Cadillacs and whatever from a golf tournament, seeing car commercial or whatever.
Because my
People aren't really doing that on Twitch.
because my
People are
in-laws
buying DoorDash off of Twitch.
because my in-laws um, are CBS fanatics, like
Hmm.
Blue Bloods. That's like I I had never watched an episode of Blue Bloods, and I work for a CBS station. But let me tell you, I've seen quite a bit of Blue Bloods when they come
I
over.
know there are people at WOTX that love Blue Bloods.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Yep, and look at the age range of those people.
Sure.
So there is some truth to what you said. I have always said that it is possible because I don't know if you guys have ever. Um,
She said the movie and the soundtrack are better than Zootopia. I don't know your wife, Brian B. I'm sure she's a lovely person. I don't really care about Zootopia soundtrack. I don't think the soundtrack is anything. I just think like the overall message and what it was hitting on in terms of dealing with like judging a book by its cover and being a predator versus non-predator and like race relations hit on Zootopia. I don't think Moana had that. Maybe I need to watch Moana again. I just think it was a cute little movie with The Rock singing. What's his name? Maui? Was
mhm.
that his name? Yeah. But I respect your wife's opinion. If she thinks Moana's better, that's cool.
Tell her to come on the show and defend it.
All right.
Tell her to jump in this chat, sir. Um, the reason why I believe that it's possible, and I've always wanted it to be possible, because I believe that we, as nerds, deserve. and I believe it's profitable because of what we pay for. I believe that we deserve just one outlet that is focused on us to where we don't have to worry about or our news or our information doesn't have to be filtered by people who do not have a passion for it like we do. And the reason why I say that is because ESPN is a household name. There was a time when no one thought, when there was no 24-hour news network as far as CNN. They thought when Ted Turner made CNN, people were like, "Wait, what? That's dumb." When people made ESPN, when ESPN started, there were people who were like, "This is dumb. It's not going to work." I feel like we are at a precipice where it is possible for a 24-hour nerd network to work. I just think we don't know right now how to do it because of the changing landscape in media. And I think if we were going to if nerds were going to do it, it has to incorporate some type of streaming aspect. It has to incorporate the fact that media has changed. So it would have to incorporate terrestrial TV, maybe. I don't know, but I do believe that it could work. And the reason why I believe it could work is here's the book that I was. Those guys have all the fun inside the world of ESPN, and this is a book. If you guys have read it, you know what I'm talking about. But if you haven't, um, it's here's the tagline from it. An exclusive behind the scenes look, sports fans unlock the fascinating history of the channel that changed the way people watch and interact with their favorite teams. It began in 1979 as a mad idea of starting a cable channel to televise local sporting events through the state of Connecticut. Today, ESPN is arguably the most successful network in modern history, spanning 8 channels in the United States and around the world. But the story has never been told fully before. And if you think about the fact of sportscasters are household names, like that's insane. Like when you think about it, the fact that you know who Dan Patrick is, you know who Rich Eisen is, you know who Leslie, um, her name just escaped me as I just about to say it. The woman who's on CBS in the morning.
Dana Jacobson.
Yes, thank you. You know who Dana Jacobson is. You know all of these different people, and they all came from ESPN. Like you know who Boomer is. Um, I think I think it is possible to have it. The question is, what would it be on it, and how could it be profitable? And that's the thing that everyone has already. That's the thing that everyone is trying to figure out. Because you're right, we spend money. There are literal conventions dedicated to all things nerd every year. You talked about it: Gamescom, E3, San Diego Comic Con, Emerald City Comic Con. All of these things fuel our industry. To say nerds don't spend money, haven't paid attention to the action figure industry. To say
Sure.
nerds don't spend money, hasn't paid attention to Hollywood and the fact that we are generating billions of dollars. Um,
Loving at Ken's comment.
it was Dana Jacobson. It was one of them, but it was the other one. I'm trying to think the black woman who was on. Hold
Pam
on.
Oliver?
No, not Pam Oliver. Um, she's a news person now. She was a sportscaster.
She's a news person.
Yeah, can't even remember her name. Anyway,
Okay.
um, but I feel that there is a place for us, especially considering there are 24-hour. There's a 24-hour just NFL network, and I feel like there's so much nerd stuff that we could fuel a network. It just I don't know how to do it. But if I did, I would have done it. And I just feel like it's possible. I just because here's the thing. I would love to watch a show where when the economy gets better. A home renovation show where somebody renovates and builds their own nerd room, or a traveling Chip and Joanna type show that goes to different shelf porn places and just like, hey, here's the guy who has the largest Guinness World Record of largest Star Wars memorabilia. Like, you go online to YouTube and you see that on YouTube, and it has over 50 million views. Like, that could be done on a
You
network.
talking about Robin Roberts?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, thank you, sir.
Yeah.
It was
I don't know who
figurative,
I don't know who Linda Roberts is. IMAX.
figurative, figuratively killing me.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, like a 24-hour nerd channel that has nerd news that's not filtered through a newsroom that's trying to focus on what the COVID rates are, that's trying to figure out what the housing market is doing, what's trying to figure out what's going on Capitol Hill or the abortion debate in Ukraine, that's just focused on the nerd news that's going on, that talks about what Frost talked about, toxic excuse me, toxic masculinity in video games, that talks about crunch, that talks about the fact that Stalker couldn't come out because there was a war in Ukraine and what is going on with that company. Like, to me, there is an opportunity for us to have a 24-hour nerd network. I just, how would it work is the biggest problem. But I do believe it's feasible. There's too
Uh,
much content for us not to have it.
sure. IMAX. Linda. When you said the name Linda, maybe you were thinking of Linda Cohn, like one of the original OG ESPN anchors,
Yep.
female anchors. Maybe you were thinking of Linda Cohn, possibly. I don't know,
Yeah.
but yeah. Um, nerds are sort of platform agnostic, or at least fickle. Yeah, I think a lot of people have talked about it. Right? There's like incel culture and toxic fandom. I
Mhm.
think it's if we can find a way to weed that out or to put that to the side and just have like nerds just love nerd stuff, right? And you don't have to you like your nerd stuff, I like my nerd stuff. They don't have to be the same thing, but we are united in the fact that we have are passionate about stuff. I don't think you have to fight
And
somebody
see,
because you don't like something that they like.
now, here's the thing. This is what I will say. I agree with you in a perfect world. Here's the problem: it's never going anywhere. So I'm not saying we embrace it. I just say that we have to monitor it and we have to make sure that the monitoring of it doesn't affect what you do. Because here's where I disagree. It's never going anywhere. Have you seen what sports fans do? They literally kill each other. So, and that's what I said. That's why I say it is doable. We have the same like, do you don't think people have the same passion over Star Wars that somebody has over the Cleveland Browns?
Hmm.
I posit we have more passion than Cleveland Brown fans. You know why? Because we had a championship recently. Boom.
What was the Star Wars championship?
Sir, we took over the world.
What?
Star Wars took over the world, sir.
Okay.
Think about
I
it.
don't think I
Nerds.
understand your metaphor, but okay.
What I'm saying is the championship is we are no longer the people who get shoved into lockers. We're no longer the fringe. We are mainstream.
Hmm.
So nerds won. Like, when you see a housewife wearing a Flash T-shirt because she watches the CW show, um, fantasy football is nothing but Dungeons and Dragons.
Hmm.
So what I'm saying is, to me, it's doable. Baby Tashiro says, I think a nerd channel is an untapped market. I agree with you. I think part of the problem is that you have too many people who are old, who don't understand the genre and aren't willing to put the money in it to make the money, who don't understand. You That's my issue with it. But I do believe that we not embrace the toxic the toxicity that's in nerddom. I think we should monitor it, and I think we should talk about it because you have to, because that's what sports does. Sports monitors the fandom. Sports monitors and talks about the fact that, yeah, you can be a fan of a team, but let's dial it back. They don't
Hmm.
shy away from that. They understand that that's a part of the business. And I think that's one of the things that we can't be gatekeepers. I agree with you, but I also think that there's a place for everyone in the nerddom, and a 24-hour network
Hmm.
is doable. Because think about it, like you said, what think about how like pitch a show. What would you like to see on this network? If you had if you could, you're a producer, you are green lighting content for your channel. What would you like to see?
I'd like a news program that's geared with like nerd topics.
Hmm.
So like people doing packages about here's the latest on this game coming out or something like that, or here's
Hmm.
how Nvidia is working on the graphics cards, or what this stuff like that.
Hmm.
I
What
would like
too?
a nerd channel like that or news program like that.
I mean, if RuPaul can make Drag Race a household name, you don't think cosplayers couldn't do the same thing? Like, if like think about like how many times we've gone to a convention and we've seen some cosplay and we're like, what did you do? Like, how do you make that? Like, Ink Masters is a show on Paramount Plus.
Hmm.
There are people who get nerd tattoos at conventions. Like, in my opinion, I just think that there's so many different content opportunities for a nerd network that it's just it. I just don't understand how it hasn't happened yet and how we haven't taken over.
Again, this is the thing we keep where we disagree. Where I the the content isn't the issue. The
Mhm.
issue is generating the revenue. I think
Yeah, I agree with you.
there's so many ways you can do the content. I don't
Mhm.
think that's the problem. The problem is how do you make people pay for this when you have a service like Twitch where most people don't pay to watch the streamers that they watch. And I don't have anything to back that up, but I feel more people watch Twitch for free than people pay to subscribers
See, and
or
here's
to
my
streamers.
question. But here's my question. Then how do they make money? Then how does Twitch make money? By
Tons of
hosting.
commercials. Also, we know Twitch is people are mad at Twitch because they're changing their platform for
I agree with
streaming.
you.
So
I,
clearly, they're like, oh, we need to find a way. We're not making as much money as we want.
that's what I'm saying. Like, I guess my question is, and I don't know where, and again, this is where our channel would come in. There has to be a way for this to be monetized because we know the streamers on Twitch are making money. We know Amaranth is making money.
Hmm.
She's literally one of the most featured people on Twitch. We know Critical Role is making money. They just made a TV show.
Hmm.
They literally just made an animated show. We know that Vox Machina is making money. They have action figures. So I guess what I'm saying is it's all of these disparate places, these pockets of nerddom all over the place. Someone has to figure out how to bring it all together so that the money is made at that one spot. Um, I just that's the question that I'm wondering because, like you said, Twitch changes revenue stream, but there has to be a way that these streamers are making money because that's what they do. So I have to feel like if you made a show on a network and sold commercials and people realize that nerds have buying power because we buy stupid like we buy things and don't take them out of the package. Like
Hmm.
that's us. MIB men in mint in box collectors. I have some figures that are mint in box and I have some that aren't. You know what?
Oh my gosh, folks. This is breaking news, a developing story. Let me get my animations up and write a BO on this real quick. Yeah, all right.
This is what I'm saying. This is what we do. We like we buy multiple copies of something so that we can have one in box, one to display, and one to take out. Um, I picked this up at a Walmart when I went to go buy dish detergent. This is Arc from the. This is an art trooper.
Hmm.
I'm trying to get. Eh, you keep talking as I
I was just
attempt.
amazed that you took it out of the box. No,
Oh yeah.
yeah, yeah. I think, well, I think what I'm getting from us and the chat, I think we all know what the idea. There's so many ideas. People are coming up with cruel ideas for topics and stuff.
Mhm.
I think the issue is just trying to coalesce all that stuff into one thing and then figure out whatever the revenue is going to be, um, to make that happen. And how do you get people to spend that money on a regular basis? Because you buy action figures, sure, but how often are you buying action figures? Like,
Oh,
I think the issue is
a lot recently, and I'm very
sure,
embarrassed.
but I think one of the bigger issues that nerd spending is it's not as ubiquitous as like everyday items. You know, like you got to buy food all the time to eat. So those type of commercials are going to make revenue. You got to put gas in your car, all that kind of stuff. If there's a way to get nerd items to be like a ubiquitous item that you're going to buy all the time, that would be something. And I don't know how you make that happen.
Well, I think part of the problem is, you're right. This is a luxury item. If I have to, um, if I gotta buy gas, and at the end of the day, the gas is going to outweigh the fact that I want an art, a Star Wars art trooper. Um, yeah, but I feel like, man, you can't even see him. I'm trying to get. Hold on, I got an idea. Um, I I think there is a way to do it, but the reason why I think it hasn't been done yet is because no one has figured out or has wanted to. Oh, he even has holsters for him.
Look at that.
Oh man, yeah. So yeah, here we go. I'll just hold it like that. So I think that there is a possibility for money to be made because so like right now I've been watching a lot of YouTube and there's a gentleman that I for the life of me hate his channel. But I watch it because I love my child. There's an individual named Blippy. Um,
I'm
I
sorry. What?
yes, Blippy.
B
You heard
L
me.
I P E Y
Blippi. If you
P
are a
P I.
parent,
Lippy.
you
Okay.
know who it is.
Okay.
Um, I hate this man. I hate him from the bottom of my heart. If I never had to see him again, I wouldn't. But he's everywhere,
Hmm.
and he makes money. And and reason why I say this is that there's a possibility for it, is that you don't have to buy an action figure every day, but action figures make money, and so there's no commercial for Hasbro as far as like these action figures. They're making enough money without having to advertise on TV like that. But Blippy's making money and he's advertising. He has a doll. He's making money on the show. The person, whoever it is doing tours. Um, I think during the daytime is where you have your, just like regular TV, you have your commercials geared towards children. So you have a Blippy commercial. You have, you know, these people who stream their stuff, you know, online on YouTube. You have those commercials that parents will buy X, Y, and Z, right? And
Hmm.
then you also sprinkle in, we buy cars because we got to get to work. We buy clothes because we have to wear clothes at work. Um, I think it's doable. I just think no one has figured out and thinks that you have to just sell nerd stuff to us. We are part of the community. We buy BMWs just like we buy GI Joe. um, I just it's one of those things. I want to read look at one of the comments. I saw something that went by. I want to make sure. And here's the thing that I think where the reason why I think it's doable is like sports, uh, Hasbro put out starting lineup figures again, right? So sports is crossing over. Sports memorabilia is a thing, just like nerd memorabilia is a thing. Sports are now crossing back over into the action figure realm with starting lineup coming back. McFarlane Toys does their NFL, basketball, all of their action figures. So there's money to be made. It's just no one has figured out how to do it. And it to me, it's one of those things where it's an untapped market that I think we have too many people who are not taking us seriously. Because think about it, nobody took Marvel seriously until they started making billions of dollars
Hmm.
when it came to the MCU. And now look at how many haters they have. I'm not. So Kim from Chicago says Leroy's focused on cable TV, ignoring the internet. I'm not ignoring the internet. I'm saying I don't know how you do a network now that the internet exists. In other words, is it a channel that stays on that streams constantly on Twitch?
Hmm.
Is it a channel that streams constantly on YouTube, simultaneously on cable TV? Is it behind a paywall? I don't know. Um, and that's what I bring it to the floor, to the table, to say how does this work in this new media?
I don't know. But we've been going for like an hour 30.
We did this for y'all.
We did this for y'all. Uh, yeah. What got you through the week?
Um, I don't know. I think I'm barely holding on.
All right, there we go. I finally finished Death's Door. I really enjoyed that
Is
game.
that the one with the guy, the little the?
Penguin. Sorry, not a penguin. Crow.
Nope, that's not what I thought it was. Continue.
What did you think it was?
I thought it was. I was thinking "Have a Nice Death."
Oh, okay.
The yeah,
Yeah, no, no. Yeah, Death's Door is a like a little roguelike. Yeah, let us know in the chat what got y'all through the week. I like that
yeah.
idea, Taylor Maru. Put that in there. Yeah, Death's Door finished that on Xbox One. I don't know the last time we streamed if I had finished Horizon Zero Dawn yet, but I finished that. I'm probably gonna start up some more Two Point Campus because I want to build my own university and have some fun times there with the students. And I might finally pick up the Hitman games. I got them downloaded on PlayStation, but I haven't done it yet. Herbert Thornton's having a birthday.
Yeah.
Congratulations, Herbert Thornton.
Everybody tell Herbert happy birthday. Let's
Yeah.
put that up there.
And Brian B., you said it's your 15th anniversary. Was that today or yesterday?
Oh yeah, because
Happy
they're still
15th
together.
anniversary.
No thanks to Michael.
I don't understand how I could break y'all up. Ma'am, I don't know your name, but don't listen to me. Don't listen to me.
um,
I don't know what I'm talking about. But yeah, that's about
yeah,
it for me, I think.
was that what is that? Middle Tennessee y'all lost to? Ooh, yeah, that was an upset. um, and
Mm,
yes, I agree with you guys. Utah run up the score. For I don't have a problem with them firing Herb. I have a problem with their leaking stuff to other teams to get Herb fired.
all
Uh,
right.
yeah, that was dirty. That was low down. Um, yeah, man. Like I said, I went to go get some dish detergent, and I
All
saw
right.
this on the shelf. And I was like, huh? And yeah, I mean, I was going to open it. I
Hmm.
thought about reselling it, but I was like, the box was a little bent on the corner, and I was like, he's pretty cool. Just stand up.
Hmm.
So I love these art troopers too. Mm.
Get some Robitussin. Hope you feel better.
Yeah, to see when the seasons change, I'm down for the count. Throat's a little messed up, but I'll be all right. I appreciate that, guys. Um, so yeah, um, we appreciate you guys doing this. We're going to try to do this every Saturday. We're going to try to put up some more videos. Also, we did a few. The helmet comes off. I didn't even know that.
Wow. More breaking news, folks. Leroy's mind is
didn't even
blown.
didn't
Yeah.
even know the helmet came off.
Okay.
We did some reviews, some reactions to some videos that came out. Strange Worlds, um, an Italian heist movie on Netflix
Robbing
called
Mussolini.
Robin Mussolini, Django,
Hmm.
and oh, knock on the cab. Knock was it knock on the cabin? Knock on the door.
Knock at the cabin.
Knock at the cabin.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Or
that
knock on
looks.
the whatever.
I'm gonna be honest with you. That's the one I'm most excited about.
Okay.
I really
There's a bunch
like.
of stuff that came out of Netflix today too.
Yeah,
That trailers or
I
something.
think with the Witcher 3 trailer, um, uh, the Witcher spinoff is going to debut on Christmas, I believe.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's a bunch of different things that came out. I don't even know what came out. Like I'm just, I have been out of the loop today. So,
Word. All right,
uh, so,
folks. Go enjoy the
so
rest of your night, huh?
yeah, we'll get to them eventually, guys. You know how we do.
Yeah. On that, we out.
Peace. You got. Hey, stay safe.
Stay safe.
Have a good weekend, guys.
There we go.